That staring at your phone or hunching over a laptop all day is just destroying your eyesight. But what if the real threats to your vision are completely invisible to you? Today, we're unpacking the hidden dangers threatening your eyesight. And honestly, there are things you probably do every single day without even a second thought. Get ready because we're going to look closely at the small, everyday things that are quietly ruining your eyes.
Okay, let's dive right into this. When your eyesight starts slipping, you most likely blame screens and smartphones. I mean, it's so easy to just point the finger at our devices, right? But the real culprits, they're actually ordinary, seemingly harmless daily habits. The reality we really need to understand today is that the worst damage usually comes from routines nobody thinks twice about. These ordinary habits can chip away at your vision for years before you even notice a single thing is wrong.
So here's our roadmap for today. We just addressed the screen time myth. So next, we're going to explore the eye rubbing danger, the cheap sunglasses trap, the severe risks of contacts and smoking, and finally, the actual cost of skipping the eye doctor.
Starting off with habit number 1, the eye rubbing danger. We all do it, but it's a massive risk. Look, it always starts with dirty hands, which is inevitable no matter how often you wash them. You go in for a quick, satisfying eye rub, and boom, you just transferred invisible bacteria directly onto the delicate surface of your eye, triggering an infection. It's a remarkably easy way to give yourself bacterial conjunctivitis. And if you happen to be recovering from an injury or eye surgery, this one simple habit is going to severely slow down your entire healing process. But bacteria is really just the short-term risk. There's a condition called keratoconus. Basically, due to years of constant friction from rubbing your eyes, the cornea actually thins out and bulges outward. Over time, this physical warping completely wrecks your vision. Constant rubbing just shoves an already fragile cornea right past the point of no return. It's a totally terrifying long-term consequence for such a seemingly innocent habit.
Now, I want you to think about what you do when you step outside on a sunny day. Ask yourself this. Are your sunglasses actually doing more harm than good? It sounds completely counterintuitive, doesn't it? But as we pivot to the environmental factors threatening our eyes, the answer might genuinely shock you. Which brings us to habit number 2, the cheap sunglasses trap. Here's the deal. Proper protection means looking for a UV 400 rating or a label that specifically guarantees 100% UV block that actively stops ultraviolet damage. The danger? Cheap, dark lenses. See, when you put a dark lens over your eye, your pupil naturally dilates. It opens way up to let in more light. If that lens doesn't have a real UV filter, you are exposing a wide-open pupil to massive amounts of ultraviolet radiation. Because of this, wearing those cheap shades is significantly worse than wearing no glasses at all. Absolutely crazy, right?
And you really have to be aware of snow glare and high mountain light. These environments are absolutely brutal on the eyes because the ultraviolet rays are amplified and reflected directly into your vision. If you're out in the snow or up in the mountains with cheap lenses, you are rapidly, and I mean rapidly, accelerating that damage.
Moving right along to habits 3 and 4, contacts and smoking risks. 2 very different choices that quietly devastate your eye health.
So habit number 3 revolves around contact lenses. A lot of us get super tired and just crash, but sleeping in contacts literally suffocates your eyes. Your eyes actually need oxygen from the air to stay healthy. When you leave your contacts in overnight, you completely deprive your eyes of that essential oxygen, creating an incredibly dangerous environment right there on the surface of your eye.
And man, the risks definitely do not end with sleeping. Take acanthamoeba keratitis. It's a mouthful, I know. But this is a severe infection that you actively invite into your eye simply by swimming with your contact lenses in. By mixing your contacts with water, you're trapping dangerous microorganisms flat against your eye. You've got to treat your contacts with some discipline because these infections are a massive risk to your vision.
Now let's look at habit number 4, smoking. We all know the general health risks for sure, but smoking drastically drives up the risk for massive systemic eye diseases. We're talking macular degeneration, cataracts, glaucoma, and diabetic retinopathy. Smoking systematically degrades the vital components of your eyes, hugely increasing your chances of developing these severe conditions.
Now, what's really interesting about this is a staggering number, 15 million. To put that into perspective, that is the massive number of people worldwide who have completely lost their sight and gone blind, specifically due to cataracts. It's just a mind-blowing global health statistic.
But let's break that down a bit. Smoking is directly behind roughly 10% of those 15 million global cases.
That means 1.5 million people have lost their sight to cataracts, heavily driven by smoking. It's a pretty stark reality of just how destructive this one habit is to our vision. So the crucial point is this idea right here. Sight is usually lost through repetition, not one bad accident. This is really the ultimate takeaway of our explainer today. We fear sudden injuries taking our vision, but the reality is that the small stuff you do every single day either protects your eyes or quietly grinds them down. It's the years of repetition, rubbing the cornea, starving the lens of oxygen, exposing the retina to UV light and smoke that truly steals your sight before anyone even catches it.
And that leads us perfectly into habit number 5, skipping the eye doctor. Look, the goal here is simple. Catch it early and fix your daily routine. When you skip going to the eye doctor, you completely miss your window to correct these unseen damages. Getting your eyes checked early allows a professional to see the tiny cumulative impacts of your daily habits. It gives you the chance to correct your routine before your cornea is pushed past the point of no return. Trust me, it always beats trying to fix a blinding mess later on. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final, provocative question to think about. Which of these 5 hidden habits are you going to stop today to save your sight for tomorrow? Are you finally going to buy a pair of proper UV 400 sunglasses? Stop rubbing your eyes? Remember to take your contacts out before bed? Your daily routine really holds the key to your long-term vision. Make a change today and protect your sight. Thank you so much for joining me to learn about these hidden dangers and keep striving to understand the small things that make a really big difference.